Today I attended the ITWeb Brainstorm roundtable discussion focusing on unstructured data both within the organization and within the cloud.
The audience was from the largest banks in the country through to small to medium enterprises, and each one of them has same or similar problems.
What was very evident from the discussion is the issue around the security of data, the issue around unstructured data that needs to create intelligence and be some source of information that makes sense to the end user.
Today we were able to understand that I'm not alone in this journey to try and protect our organization against unauthorized breaches and data leakage, as well as that the journey to better understand what data we have and how we can best utilize it is a shared journey. And so there was a lot of value in what other organizations have done, what has worked out for them, what has not worked out so well, and those lessons can be used now going back to the organization to try and put forward a strategy collaboratively with business to start tackling these types of data issues to ensure that as data grows, so can our maturity around protecting and safeguarding this data. In order to protect this data, we need to understand what data we're dealing with. And what's not helping this is the fact that data is multiplying exponentially year on year. And this data has resulted in numerous breaches within the South African context and the local landscape, that companies have lost significant amount of data to attacker groups, insider leakages, and these data breaches have resulted in either reputational damage to firms, both locally and abroad, and in some cases financial loss. Structured data is data that resides within a database, where unstructured data is particularly things like Word documents and PDFs and Excel documents. And so these documents and their context within an organization is not something that's new. But what is new is the rate at which that content is growing. And so the problem, which once was a couple of hundred gigabytes or terabyte problem, is now becoming thousands of terabytes or petabyte problems within organizations. And so that drastic growth in data is what's causing the increasing need to start understanding how we're going to safeguard it and how do we stop that data from leaving our organization. So I think the first important step in protecting unstructured data is, one, understanding what unstructured data you have. The way and means in which unstructured data finds its way into your organization can be through your employees, from your customers, or from systems that are generating that. And so the context and contextualizing what that data is becomes the first important piece. Once you can understand what that data is, we can now start understanding whether we can draw any intelligence from it and whether there's any insights we can understand. The customer information becomes increasingly important to safeguard because of acts like the Protection of Personal Information Act. And financial data becomes increasingly important to secure because of regulations like PCI or payment card industry. And so understanding what type of regulation and legislation we have, what the need is to safeguard that information, and then lastly, just your due diligence as an organization required to safeguard your customers' information to ensure that should you face a data breach or an employee or insider leaking that information outside of the organization, that you're able to contain that breach as well as protect the information that has potentially been breached.
And what is also critical is to assure that the users are taken through a change management kind of session in a process of trying to educate them so that they understand where we are putting the data, where the security requirements of the data, the ownership, and the cleanliness or the cleansing of that data.
What also remains at the center of protecting unstructured data is both logical and physical access control. The logical access allows us to ensure that the right people have access to the right information, and that the data warehouse in which the information is stored has the adequate physical protection to ensure that only the right people are able to physically gain access to that information. Where the information is stored, there needs to be an adequate level of encryption to ensure that that data is only readable by the right parties that are able to view that data in a clear text form, and that if that data were to be obtained unlawfully, illegally by a attacker or rogue insider, that it becomes unreadable to that particular individual.
It's not necessarily required to secure everything, but go secure the things that are your high value data. make sure those data are replicated in correct places, put into a secure data center, either be a public cloud or private cloud. And how you use that data, that'll determine the strategy for you and how to take the next steps in making sure that you leverage the asset that you have. Because for most organizations nowadays, data is central to what you do. And obviously customers are important, but your data is the glue that binds everything together in your organization.
How do we do the right things right? By that I mean, where is the business value? Where is the efficiency being placed back into the customer? It's about creating and associating value to the data that we are collecting from our customers. So the data becomes the crown jewels of the organization.
Hi, my name is Gutman. I'm the VP of Business Development. I'm working with Varonis for the last 10 years. And Varonis was founded in 2005. And it's specializing in managing, securing, and controlling unstructured data, which has become a huge issue across the globe in the recent years.
Hi, I'm Louis de Kork, Country Business Development for South Africa for Varonis. And like Daniel said, is the challenges that customers face around unstructured data. Key takeaway from today's event was definitely around, there's one common thing is unstructured data is growing at a rapid pace and the problem is getting bigger around managing it. And I think a key takeaway is at least start with the awareness, understanding what is sensitive to the organization or per department, and to show them the value and also the risk around their data.
I think it was quite clear from today's participants. They all said that they call it a beast, an animal, all kinds of words. This is all over. Nobody has actually control over it. It's quite clear that there is an exposure. People haven't figured out the way to deal with it. We actually talked much more than that, like what to do with all kind of layers, like social messengers, like WhatsApp and Facebook. But I think the core is still have to be taken care of. And this is what actually we do. We provide an ability to take it under control, to first of all understand what's there, to discover what's there, to understand the gaps, to prevent the exposure, and to sustain it in an optimized way.
To get a better understanding of your unstructured data, we provide a free risk assessment to give you guidance and some insight into your unstructured data, and also a plan on where to begin. You're welcome to contact us on our website, www.varonis.com.